Welcome to the Confidence Tea Podcast, where we brew up inspiration, self-discovery, and a sprinkle of empowerment, all over a cup of tea. Please welcome your host, Virginie Madiston. Virginie is a passionate advocate for personal growth and wellness, blending the art of tea with the journey of confidence. With a background in psychology, theology, and coaching, she believes every sip of tea can lead to a transformed mind, edified soul, and activated confidence. So get ready to steep yourself in uplifting conversations, insightful stories, and practical wisdom. Without further ado, here's your host of the Confidence Tea Podcast, Virginie Madiston.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Confidence Tea. I'm your host, Gigi, and this is where we get to have a mind-transforming, soul-edifying, confidence-activating conversation all over a cup of tea. I hope you're ready to join me tonight. We have a special guest in the house. Miss Judith Rapley is here, and we're going to be talking about what's the tea in mental health. So I hope you have your cup of tea. I hope you're ready to dive into this amazing and powerful conversation with us. So before we get started, I want to just go over a couple of announcements. As you guys know, if you're joining us for the first time, please grant StreamYard permission. That way we can see your comments and we can give you a shout out. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if it's your first time or even if it's been a long time tuning in. Say hello. We want to conversate with you. And so we want to tell you all about our upcoming Sip and Celebrate event that is November the 30th. It's going to be at the Boca Dunes Golf and Country Club in Boca Raton, Florida, where we're going to be having an amazing time. Gigi Inc. is celebrating 8 amazing years of providing girls with mentorship in the community. And so we're going to celebrate that. We're going to have tea. We're going to have fun. We're going to have games, prizes. You're going to hear from some of the young ladies who have participated in our programs. We have some special performances. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great time. I hope to see you there. If you can't make it, but you would still like to support us, feel free to click our link and go on our website, gginc.org, and you can always make a donation and show us your support that way. Thank you so much for celebrating 8 amazing years with us. I hope to see you there. And so without further ado, I want to introduce our guest for this evening. I'm going to tell you all about her before she comes on. And then also when she gets in here, we're going to chat it up. So Ms. Judith Rapley is a compassionate and dedicated professional. She's a licensed psychotherapist and life coach. She is the owner and founder of JMR Coaching and Consulting Services. And she is also the owner of You Matter, a youth development social impact model organization focused on intergenerational mentorship, community service, and global awareness. Her passion is providing individual and group personal development sessions and programs focusing on leadership, mental wellness, and emotional wealth in their connection to our faith and spirituality. In these settings, she works with perfectionists, overachievers, proclaimed saviors, and everyday heroes who may have lost themselves. She does this from lived life experience, where her biggest life lesson can be summed up in 3 words: lead, not save. So please welcome Miss Judith Rapley to Confidence Tea.
Hello. Good evening, Gigi, and hello, everyone else, both on Gigi's platform and any others on live. Hello, good to have you all. Such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Welcome.
And cheers to our cup of tea.
Cheers. Welcome to the show, Judith. I'm so excited. You're a woman after my own heart, a fellow tea lover, so we connect in that way, and then we also connect in dealing with people with mental health and mental illness. And so I'm excited to get into this conversation with you tonight. and dive right in. What's the T in mental health? And so, let us know, if you're in the audience, your perspective on mental health.
Right.
And, if you have any questions while we're on here, definitely please let us know in the chat. That way we can address those questions. But Miss
Absolutely.
Judith, I'm going to give you the floor. Let's dive in.
Wow, let's dive
What's
in.
the
Let's get
T?
to it. Let's get to the T.
What's the T in mental health? So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What is the T, Miss Judith? Tell us
What's the
about.
T?
I know
What's the T?
you came up with this amazing title because I know you got some tea to spill.
Yeah, what's the T? What's the T? Well, the T is there's so many components to mental health, and just it's awareness that makes me excited about being a therapist and a coach in this era. So the T is the word is getting out. The T is people are becoming more aware. The T is there's more recognition. The T is I believe that there's some degree of less stigma around mental health. So those are some of the things that I think are good about the T. T is that there are new methodologies being looked at in terms of telehealth, in terms of what would I say, some other medications that are being explored for those who need it, that are proving to be successful for some people, where some of the past medications might not have been for those who need it. The T is that, we're having more conversations about cross-sectionality in terms of the different things that impact people. The T is also that we don't think that mental health or mental care or mental health care is only for those in severe cases, but that understanding the spectrum of need. So yeah, those will be some of the things off the bat, Jenny.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
There's a lot. And you said something very important. You said that you talked about you mentioned the stigma. Like let's dive into that for a minute, because I feel like there's such I feel now there's less, but there is still a stigma associated with mental health.
Absolutely.
And I think that in itself keeps people from reaching out and from getting the help and the support that they need.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree that although it's less, because I've been in the field or industry for over, believe it or not, over 30 years, there is still some stigma. There are still some misconceptions, right? There's the belief that people they don't need mental health support or services. They should just snap out of it. Just get it together, right? Just snap out of it. There's a T that people of color shouldn't need or should not require mental health support. That still exists, even if it exists to a lesser degree. There's still the T that it's for the weak, those who are weak-minded. That's another one. Those who are weak-minded need mental health services, and the others, if you're strong enough, you don't need it. As a person of faith, there's also the T that if you know God, if you have faith and you believe in God, then you don't need it. That should be enough.
Yeah, you don't need therapy. You don't need, we're just gonna cast it out. We're gonna pray about it.
Right. And all those things, of course, are important and are different perspectives from which we can look at mental health as well. But there are times when there are other supports needed, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can work together, and we can work together in different settings and so forth. So those are some of the misconceptions that still exist. What's another one? That is only for women, right? That men don't need that. Men don't talk.
Men don't have issues, or men don't need to talk about it.
Exactly. They don't need to talk about it, or they just need to go and play basketball, and that'd be good, right? There's a misconception as well that it's the same thing for something to be therapeutic as for it to be therapy. No, my gardening is therapeutic, but it's not therapy unless there's specific models around that, and I'm working with someone towards some specific goals around that. It's therapeutic and it's good. It definitely has benefits, but it's not therapy. So we still have to work, Gigi, across some of these misconceptions in terms of mental health still, even though there's more awareness.
Absolutely. And I would say that there's a lot of like you said, misconceptions, and people don't necessarily understand mental health in a nutshell. Like I tell people, just like we have our physical health, right? You go see a doctor, right, for your physical health. If something is wrong with your body,
that's right.
And we have not normalized going to see a therapist for our mental health. Why do
Yes.
you suppose that is? Like, we're not at the place where people now have a grasp on, okay, I need to go to the doctor if my stomach hurts. I need to go,
Yes.
but they have not come to the realization that the mind works in the same way. Like, we have to go and seek help and support for that as well.
Mhm. I think that the medical model and the physical nature of things have existed perhaps for a longer time. I
Mhm.
think when we think about who has led those particular fields, it has not been, individuals who have the same level of power. And so I think that those are some of the things when I work from both a micro and a macro understanding, because although my degree was in psychology, I also studied sociology. So that
Mhm.
brings for me into account some of the larger systemic issues that make mental health things not the thing that we pursue or that we follow with the same vigilance that we do physical needs. But I also, when we talk about the T, that's one of the things actually that is changing. We're beginning to become more integrative, I believe, in terms of joining, having collaborative support and work. Today with one of my clients, she's having some physical issues and needs, and I
Mhm.
suggested that she speak to her doctor about her mental health needs. And I have begun to get even more diligent about engaging with my clients to ask about their physical needs. So I
Mhm.
think clinicians are getting more astute in bringing those together, even if it overall has not and might never ever equate to the same level. There's
To the
also
same.
the economy of it. In terms of cost and things of that nature. So those are some of the things I think, Gigi, that make it not at the same level. And I hope that we won't always be the younger, ignored younger sister, but that at some point it will move forward. I'm believing that that's possible.
I believe so too. And I think it's important for us to continue to normalize it,
Yes.
and to really help people. And I think having conversations like this definitely helps in bringing the awareness to people to know that, hey, just like you have a physical health, you also have a mental health that needs to be
Absolutely.
addressed, and
Absolutely.
providing those tools and those resources so that people can find the need, what they need, and if and knowing that it's okay for them to speak to someone.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the increased visibility from on social media, the increased visibility of entertainers and maybe even celebrities speaking more about it. They seem to have the air of the culture, so to speak, and their
Yeah.
conversations about it, and even them sharing about their own selves, might increase it in the years and the decades to come. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we are definitely we're also blazing through some of the challenges that comes with, because you mentioned, cost, and sometimes a lot of people don't know the services that are available.
Mhm.
What are some other challenges, do you think, that people have that are dealing with mental health issues or a mental health disorder even, because there's so many different things that they may have to overcome. Yes, the stigma of it. Yes,
Right.
do I have, is my insurance gonna cover if
Right.
I go see and speak to someone? But I know that there are some other issues that people may face regarding mental health.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we have touched already on some of them, the misconceptions, the stigma, believing that their issue is not as severe as someone else's, so they don't have need of it. We've talked
Hmm.
about the concrete social issue of the financial accessibility, insurance realities, which put, as I've said in other places, both the consumer and the clinician in a bind. Someone could go see their doctor, and the doctor gets paid, $250 or $200 an hour, but from the insurance company. Then you look on the other side, you have someone going to see their therapist, and the thought is like, yeah, I should be able to pay you $30 or $40. That should be sufficient. And that's what I put that individual in a bind, as well, the clinician as well as the consumer. Accessibility, I think even now, a lot of, I've tried to make referrals for people who have mentioned to me who might be in my circle that they need services, and I contact 3 or 4 of my colleagues,
Hmm.
and thankful for them, but not for the community. They're booked and busy. They're not slots available. They're not. And when we speak about representation and people today wanting to have therapists and clinicians that look like them, that becomes an issue because I believe only about 12% of clinicians are people of color. And in terms of those who are African American or Black, it's even a lesser percent, I think like 2%. So if
Oh,
you're
wow.
trying to find someone that represents you and looks like you, because for you that is an important value, then you're going to be searching for a little while to find that particular person. And because that might be a commodity in some ways, like every other product or service, then it might be a high level or high stakes to find that person or to get on that person's schedule. So, in doing that, I would love to do more work to encourage more people to go into the field and the industry and to properly prepare them so that in the days and years to come, there are more available therapists who are properly equipped, properly trained, but are also properly and culturally connected to be able to provide our community with a type of service that sees them. And that is, as I said before, that is that where there's awareness of cross-sectionality and intersectionality in a way that is more conducive to their needs.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good. So if you're out there and you've been thinking about it, I know sometimes I do think about going into this. Now, I have worked in the mental health sector. I've worked with, adolescents that have behavioral health disorders and inside of some different facilities and whatnot. And so I've had a chance to really kind of learn a lot. Beforehand, I think I was very, I just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so working in some of these facilities, I realized a lot of these children and even adults, are suffering from things that is way out of their control. A lot of times people, especially when you're dealing with children, a lot of times they don't know how to express what is happening to them. They don't know what's going on. Sometimes some of these issues are brought on by trauma, and we don't get to dictate what is traumatic for someone. A lot of times parents, oh, that was nothing. And you don't know that that was nothing for that child. And so sometimes, that child goes through a traumatic experience and it does bring about some type of mental health issue. If it's not dealt with, it can, follow them into adulthood. And if not controlled properly, if not dealt with, they end up struggling with that issue for their entire life.
Absolutely. Gigi, you made a couple of great points that I want to elaborate on. When you talk about children, because I have worked with children, both in agency work as well as in private practice for a while, you're right. They don't have the language. We don't teach them the language to express what's happening for them in their mental health or in their emotional health. As I said to someone today, a client today, they know more that their tummy hurts, going back to the medical model, right? They know that their tummy hurts, but they don't know how to say that means that they're afraid or that they're anxious. So I have done, in my past, I worked with NYU University, and we were providing psychodynamic information and psychoeducation to the teachers and to the children in kindergarten and first grade, utilizing little pictures and things of that nature to help them begin to express what is, I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel worried. And so there's some of that I think is happening. And of course, more could be done in terms of psychoeducation in schools for children, social development programs that help them understand some of the things of that nature so that they can be better equipped as they grow to utilize that language. The other thing that I wanted to highlight that you said, Ginny, was about trauma and the definition of trauma. I'm thankful to hear that because of more visibility and more conversations around trauma, we're recognizing that trauma is not just what we call or used to call the capital T, the big things trauma. But trauma is anything that impacts someone in their experiences that they consider traumatic, right? You have siblings in a particular home and certain events happen. And one sibling said, nothing happened, not a big deal. Other sibling says, oh no, that thing that happened was a big deal to me and was traumatic. Right now there's language for it, and was traumatic to me. And I think that that's important for us to understand so that we're not just considering mental support or mental services for just those who have been severely impacted, but that we're recognizing that any one of us, any one of our mental functioning, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being can be impacted by events and our own very personal, individualized experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of, when you talk about the two siblings growing up in a household, and one person can have a totally different experience. Same thing as far as like a car accident. You
Absolutely.
can, be in a car accident or even witness a car accident and be so traumatized by that. And I never really understood that. I never, it was never a thing for me. Like, okay, something happened, until you experience something and you're like, I am different. Like, I do need to
Yes.
figure out how to process this.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I might need to talk to someone who is skilled in this area in helping me to process my feelings
Mm-hmm.
and to get myself out of these, sometimes it's emotions, sometimes it's just, you don't know what it is. It's fear. I was involved in a car accident and it
Oh,
took me a
wow.
while to get back into just driving again because,
Wow.
all I could think about was, oh my God, I don't know what's
It's
going
going
to
to happen
happen.
again. Right.
Yeah.
It's going to happen again is the fear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we have to be, I think us as a community, it's also important that we're sensitive
Mm-hmm.
to other people's sensitivities.
Yes. Yes.
Because sometimes just the way you respond to the way that someone is feeling, lets them know if it's okay for them to have that feeling or not. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times people shut down, or they remain bottled up. They keep everything inside,
Mm-hmm.
because they are afraid of how they're going to be perceived.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to the car, but that doesn't mean you were not affected by it.
Absolutely. No, because nothing happened to the car, that doesn't mean you're not affected. And if there was someone else in the car with you, they may have been impacted, but impacted in a totally different way than how
Totally.
you were impacted. And that's the right to your point of view, to your POV, as my younger clients point out to me all the time. You have the right to your POV, and that's one of the beauties about the widespread information and visibility of mental health now, that people are understanding and hearing more, and being validated in their experience, in their points of views. I love that. That's even, I would say, one of the positives of social media, in that
Mhm.
there is some place and room for self-expression, so people don't feel as alone, and they don't feel as weird, and they don't feel as there's something wrong with me, as perhaps they would have felt 10, 15, 20, or 30 years ago.
Oh
So I
yeah.
like the fact that there is more self-expression and more room and space for people to have different experiences and different points of views. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I even encourage parents, me working with youth and being just such a youth advocate,
Mm.
is to allow their children to voice what it is that they're going through, whether it be in school, whether it be in like at home, even in the social realm, because now
Mhm.
we know there's so many things. Like social media is both good and, but it could also, it's like, it could also be bad. We
Right.
hear about cyberbullying a lot of
Absolutely.
times.
Absolutely.
Children could be bullied through social platforms, or
Mhm.
these things. And so we have to be more cognizant of the world that we live in and the
Yes.
changing times,
Oh,
what
yeah.
people are dealing with, as opposed to how we were brought up and how we were. I mean, I grew up in the generation where you just kind of you toughed it out. Like,
You sucked it up. Suck it up.
you suck it up. And we can't continue to have that same language.
No,
We
man.
can't talk to, I like some of the things that, growing up, my parents said to me. I dare not say that to a child
Yes.
nowadays. They're gonna
They,
run away
they,
crying.
they will call you out about it, because they've been more exposed, and they will say to you, the child will say to us nowadays, you can't say that to me. You hurt my
You
feelings.
hurt my feelings,
I,
and
I
you're not
love hearing that.
considering my mental health wellness. I've had
Right.
children say that, and
Right.
they'll say, "You're not taking
Yes.
into consideration my mental health," and I'm like,
Yes.
okay. And it's a different mindset, and it takes.
Absolutely.
I think it's up to us adults to really start to understand, and because I know, because sometimes I'm like, I go back now and I think about, just my childhood and what my parents would say to me when something happened at school, or if I wanted to have my pity party or whatever, they would just be like, suck it up. Like, you keep on moving. Let's go. Like, and they did not allow me. And it worked during that time.
Right.
But as times change and circumstances change and situations change, we also have to change, and we have to become more compassionate with, because it is definitely a softer generation.
And it worked during that time also, Gigi, I would dare say, for some people, because I do have clients in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who have impacted and will be talking to me now about the impact of being shut down or dismissed, right? So we do say yes, we do say it's a softer generation, but I have dealt with individuals who are a little older who will share with me the impact, and they're now recognizing, in their 60s, they're talking about trauma to me that they've never talked about to anybody for 30, 40, or 50 years. And they're like, yeah, I read this on the internet, or I saw this on YouTube, and I realized that this thing impacted me as well. So yes, it's a different era, but even everything that was done was not bad at all, but everything was not good either. And so we're cleaning up some of that, and we're understanding too that this is a different time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the tools that people can use just to take better care of their mental well-being. Being in your line of work, I'm sure you have, several tools that you can sometimes let people on, just so that they have something in their back pocket, so that, not everybody is going to go and say, I need to book a therapy session. But what are some things that they can do, or what are some tools that you can guide them towards?
Thank you for asking about tools, Gigi, because you're right. Because of lack of accessibility and affordability at times, not everyone is going to go to therapy. Again, I think I read somewhere recently that only 12% of individuals in need of mental health services will actually get it.
Wow, right? That's a low number, 12%. Wow.
12%, I think it was. So that means that the other individuals are not getting support in a targeted and intentional way. So here are some things. Again, it might seem as basic or simple as possible, but I think our constantly being aware of our bodies and screening our bodies and what's happening in our bodies is important. I am doing more and more work and studies right now as I prepare for 2025 around what they're calling now psychosomatic realities. I'm learning about the different ways the brain and the body works, so that I can give my clients more opportunities to learn how to practice scanning themselves. How are you feeling? What's happening in your hands? What's happening in your armpits? What's happening in your stomach? Those kinds of things. So deep breathing is one way that we can become more aware of what's happening in our bodies, just pausing and stopping and doing that. And that can be done anywhere. There are different types of deep breathing opportunities or exercises, like breathing in a box, doing the 4-7-8, counting to 4, in, out for 7, hold for 8, those kinds of things. So that is one particular way. As I just mentioned, body scanning is another. Meditation, that looks different for different people. People are learning that meditation does not have to be where you like empty your whole mind kind of thing, but where you just kind of stop and just concentrate or focus on something. For my clients who are Christians, I invite them to not feel weirded out, but to focus on the word of God, or to focus on a particular word in the Bible, or focus on the name God or Jesus, if that works for them. Other individuals can use other things that work for them in terms of just centering. Other wellness things like physical exercise, walking. Some people can do the running and other things that make sense to you. Those things have proven to have benefits in our mental wellness and our emotional wellness and our moods as well. Because again, it's connected. As a holistic coach, I'm always telling the clients it's all connected. It's all connected. It's always all connected. So things like that. That, of course, includes nutrition, proper nutrition, and sleep. Right? Sleep is one of the best mental health tools. Now, when you have everyone overworking because of the economy and everyone, only getting 1 hour, 5 hours of sleep here and there, you have to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Yes, some of my folks over here are talking about planting your feet, like being present. Those are some of the things that are important. Social connection, right? Where we have called loneliness one of the one of the problems of our time, of our current time. People are alone. Everybody lives alone. People don't talk to each other. I was joking with someone that nowadays, even with your friends, you have to make an appointment to talk to them. Like, I'll talk to you. Yeah. Because, other than that, you're not going to find them, or other than that, they might not answer. So,
Yeah,
just
I
making
mean,
sure that
it's so
community.
busy. It's fast paced. We live in a world where everything is just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
we do have to take a minute and slow down, take a breath.
Absolutely. Right. And so the last two things I want to add in terms of tools or just awarenesses is what you just said, being present, right? Being present, like pausing, stopping, being present, not trying to do the whole multitasking at all times, because we've learned that multitasking is not a real thing. That means you're doing one thing well and a couple of other things by the way, right? So just stopping and pausing, making room and space, creating spaciousness in our lives. And then, of course, if their symptoms are frequent and severe and impacting their lives, of course, seeing a mental health professional. The only other one that just jumped in my head as well, in terms of how to manage, one's mental wellness, that comes up in a very stressful society. And even as I'm talking to my clients constantly now, is setting realistic expectations.
That's good. That's good.
Again, I mentioned in terms of my avatar client, there are tons of people who are like doing a lot for others, whether it's mothers, fathers, or leaders in some way. So those are, just setting realistic expectations so that we can have compassion and care for ourselves, right? Yeah. We can't do everything well all the time at the same level. I put all of those conditions out there on purpose, right? You can't do everything well at the same level all the time. So we have to select the day that you are a 100% mother and you're like busting it with your children. Might be the day that as a housekeeper, you might be a 30 that day because there's dishes in the sink, right? And the day that you're in a particular season at your work where they need more of you, something at home might not be at the 100%. You just cannot be at the 100 in everything all the time. If not, you will burn out. I talk about burnout, passion fatigue, all those kinds of things that are demonstrations and symptoms of, mental health and wellness. That's not healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes we have to offer ourselves some grace.
Yes.
Because we want to be 100 in every area all the time, and we have to slow down. So ladies, if you are watching, please take some time for yourself, extend yourself some grace, so that you are not going to be super mom every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's okay. Even moms deserve a day off.
Yes. Two things: stop and have a cup of tea, or lock yourself in the bathroom for just 3 minutes and have some deep breaths. Make sure that there are no sharp objects outside if you have little ones, but just lock yourself in there for 3 minutes, have some deep breaths, and come outside and just continue on.
And woosah.
And just have that woosah. The other thing is community, right? We got to bind together. We have to help each other out. That's important. We have the statement about checking on your strong friends. Checking on all your friends if you can, even if not every day, because everybody has different needs at different points in time. We just have to also pull together better as a community also, Gigi.
Absolutely. I agree with it. And I always let people know, listen, I'm always a safe space. I'm always just a phone call away. Yes. Don't ever feel like, I won't take a minute just to listen to you. I've had, and sometimes when I do offer that, sometimes I do get, people that I don't even know. Like, I might only know them through social media, but if they feel comfortable to have a conversation with me, just because I'm an ear, and I'm a non-judgmental ear. I've worked in the mental health sector for, I don't know, going on probably 7-8 years now. And so I think I've seen, people deal with and overcome so many different things. And so sometimes that gives me a level of knowledge and understanding to where it's okay and it's safe to talk. And so, I tell, so if you're watching this video and it's like, hey, I don't want to tell someone my business, or I don't want to talk to family, or I don't want to talk to my support system because I'm, afraid of the stigma, or I'm afraid of whatever, just know that you can always reach out. You can DM, you can call, you can text me, and I'll be that ear for you. I'll be that open ear. That way you can. And then also too, I may know resources. I may know, how to direct you and how to connect you to the right person for additional assistance. So don't ever feel like, you can't reach out. I just want to
Yeah.
make that
Good.
public service announcement.
Yes, I
Like,
love it. I
and
love
that's
that.
what
Reach out and
Confidence
speak to
Tea is
someone.
about. That's what we're here. We're here to connect. We're here to
Mhm.
support one another as women, because I think it's
Absolutely.
very necessary. Very necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you feel like, the future of mental health will evolve? Like, what do you think? Like, let's say in the next 10 to 20 years, what does that look like?
Mhm.
What's your perception of how it's going to change over the next couple of years?
A very good question. Um, I think that there's probably going to be more digital, and even as we're getting into the AI world, more AI related supports and services.
Oh yeah, I
And
can see that. I can definitely see that
yeah,
happening.
like everything else, I hope that it is properly monitored so that it is effective and efficient, culturally sensitive and relevant and fair, right? That is my hope as it moves into that direction. Because already in the last couple of years, as a clinician, we have seen where business organizations have come into the field in a way that benefits economy and benefits capitalism, but doesn't always benefit neither the consumer nor the clinicians. So
Okay.
I hope that as we move into the more teletherapy and the digital platforms and the AI created things, that there are some monitoring systems to make sure that it stays, that it is monitored and that there are checks and balances so that proper care is provided to those who most need it, because it's usually the most vulnerable that get impacted in a negative way. So that's my, plus and minus. I think that there's going to be more discoveries around medications. There are people that are using things like different psychedelic medications that they find helpful. It's more common than it might have been 10 years ago. I probably could tell you right now, my clientele, maybe about 30% of them would mention that they have used it, whether in an organized, monitored way or just with some friends. I always tell them to be diligent consumers about anything new, so that they're doing their due diligence and research. So that might end up being something that is more explored and more widespread, because it's out there that there's sometimes quicker solutions in a shorter time frame, so that there's not level of time that talk therapy might take for some people. I hope that there's more. I hope that there's more psychoeducation and preventative work, where it's more conversations out there, and that it's not like at the back end where someone's mental health needs or emotional needs are impacted negatively, but that we're setting a baseline standard where, as I mentioned, the kind of program that I did 10 years ago at NYU and within schools, where children are learning more language so that they have better tools for themselves as they're growing up, so it becomes more normalized for them to say, rather than just their tummy hurts, to say, I'm feeling sad today, I'm feeling angry today, in a way that is more widespread across. And I think the only other two things or other ways that I would like to see it move forward is more interdisciplinary work together, more collaboration with the physical medical field and the mental health field. I know that I am intrigued by it, and I'm moving and learning a couple of things about neuropsychology and things of that nature that I think come from the more medical field, that talk about how the brain works, how the body works, how the nervous system works. I just happen to be one of those curious people. God willing, somebody gives me some money, I can go and get my PhD. Yes. And I can do some learnings in that way so that I can help my community, and I can marry my knowledge and my expertise in the mental health field and my experience with more knowledge into the medical field, and bring that together so that more compassionate, kind, and integrative care can happen. And then just more individuals from our community going in the field, raising that number from, I guess, 2% to a higher number, so that people have more availability and access to people that look like them, who are properly skilled and properly trained, who can take and who can bring to the table that intersectionality. I love the fact that some of my clients love working with me because I am Black, I am a woman, I am a Christian, I am immigrant. Those things mean something to them. When I started my therapeutic journey 20 years ago, I didn't have that. And so the person I have, as wonderful as she is, doesn't represent me in a number of different categories, but she was just a good therapist. And I'm
Mhm.
thankful.
And
Because,
sometimes that does keep people away,
yeah,
and like you said, that will draw and attract someone to you
yeah,
because of that. Because it's almost like when you want to go to a doctor that can understand your needs, and the doctor that
exactly.
resembles you.
Right, right.
And
Yeah, for
so
some people that means a lot. But I say to everyone, although it does, my only caution is if you can't find that and that's what you desire more than anything else, get a good therapist. Because
yes.
a good and properly trained therapist will be able to see you and provide you with services that meet and complement your need, even if they don't fully, totally reflect or represent the story. Because in the same token, someone who looks like you've not properly trained might not be able to see you. So there's that, there's that to be weighed and balanced out for each person on the individual
Absolutely.
basis.
Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. That is so good. Do you have any? I definitely want to you to connect with our audience. So how can people get in touch with you so that
Absolutely.
they can connect with you?
Before I even share that, Gigi, I just want to really thank you for your collaboration. I think that these kinds of collaborations in the community and with different expertise, I also want to say on behalf of Gigi, please contact her on YouTube. I put her YouTube information. She has some wonderful tea. I'm not drinking her tea tonight, but I've had some mango lemon tea. So contact her for her tea. That's wonderful. It's good. It's refreshing, and I'm about to get some more. So anybody, any of my audiences, as you see this video, make sure to contact Gigi for her tea. So
Thank
thank you.
you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So thank you for the collaboration and having this opportunity for us to work together in a way that is mutually reciprocating for both of us, where we can expose both our audiences to both of us in a way that's collaborative. Now, with that said, how can your audience reach me? You can reach me at judithrapley.com, judithrapley.com. That is JUDITHRAPLEY is where you can reach me at my website. And, regarding speaking, regarding trainings, regarding providing support and psycho education and preventative services in businesses and organizations. And corporately, I work a lot with executive leaders and even others whom I consider themselves leaders. And then on social media, on both Facebook and Instagram, I am Judith Rapley Life Coach. Judith Rapley Life Coach, all one word, on both Instagram and Facebook. And I would love
Okay.
to meet your needs wherever there might be need towards leading and being healed and healing and being on that healing journey.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for just joining me tonight. Thank you for, I think the collaboration is important, yes, but it takes two, it takes you saying yes. So thank you for saying yes and coming on here. I hope that a lot of the information that we shared tonight during this conversation made you, just more aware, brought some awareness to mental health. And I hope that you definitely have more knowledge than you had before. So I want to thank you, Judith, for being a guest on Confidence Tea.
I always forget to bring up my book. I do, which is, it's called Imperfectly Perfect, a 31-day transformative guide to healthy leadership that begins with you. And it's on Amazon. And it's sort of like a journal where you can have certain topics, certain affirmations for those who are scripturally or biblically minded. There's also a scripture there and a little assignment, a little task. My clients really love the homework assignments that I give them. So in that particular guide, I have some assignments, 30 assignments or 31 assignments for you to work
for 31
on.
days.
For 31 days, when we talk about individuals who are not either ready or able to get into additional support, I believe that if you start with that, that will get you started and just begin to give you an ability to process some things before or until you get to some supportive services.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. If you're listening, go ahead and get a copy of Let's Show Miss Judith some support. Show us hold it up. Yep. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Yes, we want to definitely support you and grab a copy of that book that way. And because all of these things are beneficial for us. And this is part of having these resources in our tool belt or our toolbox. And I want to come up with a toolkit too. I'm working on that, is coming up with a confidence toolkit so that people have access to all the tools and resources that they need when they need it the most. Because I think sometimes just not knowing, we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know that we might need a 31-day journey sometimes is what you need in order to restabilize yourself and rebalance and energize yourself, and so that way you can keep on going. And so
to
taking
plant
out
your
that
seed and
31
get
days
started, to reset or recharge at a particular time. I think even getting ready for the new year is a good time to ground yourself, because a lot of things happening right around you, and you're like, okay, let me just take this 5 or 10 minutes a day to just work on these things. And also, I think something you just said, Gigi, came back to me. Our parents might not have known better in a number of areas, but we get to break certain chains. We get to break certain cycles, and so this is an opportunity to working with Gigi in her particular organization, or with her, or if you contact me for support, we get to break the chain and to do better now that we know better.
Yeah. Absolutely. When you know better, you do better. So let's do better, ladies. Let's treat ourselves better. Let's treat our mental health better. And let's just be better for it. And let's be better at supporting and connecting with one another. I'm always here. If you want to connect with me, I'm literally a phone call, a text message, or an email away. And so those who know me know I will fly anywhere. I love to travel.
You're like me, have passport with travel.
I have a passport. Give me a reason to come to you, and I will be there. So thank you so much, Judith, for joining us. And we should do it again soon. We should have more tea soon. And so I am, definitely looking forward. If you'd like to be a guest on Confidence Tea, feel free to reach out to me. All social media platforms, Girls Igniting, or Virginia Madison on Facebook. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, if no one has told you today, I love you. I love you, and I love you. Have a good one. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.